Have you ever thought that how people lived in the past? What was their food habit? What types of clothes they used to wear? Their houses were made of which material? Where do their children go to study? We can find the answer of all these by the study of history. History is the branch of social study that helps us to study about the past. When we will look closely at the word history, it contains another word, story. Therefore, history is the story of people who lived in earlier times. The story of the past, the history. History is the story of the past. It is made up of the events that occurred in the previous or ancient era. History helps us to know about the life of the people in the past, how the way of living changed from the past to the present. The study of the past is important because it helps us to understand the present. Since history is a continuous story or series of events, the present is difficult to understand in the absence of past, as we have to first understand the numbers before going for any addition or subtraction. The India in which we are living was not as same in the ancient era. There were various events in the past that gradually changed the way of living and other habits of the people. We can divide our history of India into three main areas: Ancient India, Medieval India, and Modern India. Ancient India. Ancient India has a long-lived civilization and culture. It covered several countries including our present India and neighboring countries like Pakistan and Bangladesh. The civilization of ancient India is known by many names such as Indus Valley and Harappan Valley civilization. It began around 3000 BCE. The houses made during this period were built of mud, brick, and kin-fired. The most famous sites of this period were the great cities of Mohenjo-daro and Harappan culture. The people of Harappan civilization worship many gods and goddesses. Medieval India. Medieval India dates back to the post-classical era. This is an important period in the history of India due to the development of art and culture. The establishment of Sultanate Empire started the beginning of the medieval India. The administration was divided into central region. There were various kingdoms and their rulers. There was no proper way of justice. Taxation was more in comparison to the ancient India. There was decline in trade that resulted in the growth of the town. But still it prospered due to trading with the West Asia and the Southeast Asia. The main empires during medieval India were the Rajput Kingdom, the Chola Empire, the Mughal Empire, and the Great Marathas. Modern India. Modern India consists of the entry of British in India, East India Company, and India's freedom struggle. The European trading agencies came to India in the late 16th and 17th centuries. Vasco da Gama came to Calicut, India. This started the beginning of European era in Indian history. The British ruled the India for a period of 2 centuries. They also brought revolutionary changes in the social, political and economic life. In 1595, the Dutch came to India and formed Dutch East India Company. They started few trade exports and imports at Surat, Ahmedabad and Cambay. The onset of East India Company led to the decline of the Mughal Empire. Mahatma Gandhi and other freedom fighters to make India independent started the freedom movement of India. He was the most popular leader who started Satyagraha movement, which led to India's freedom.
Words: civilization, archaeologist, astronomy, sculpture, ruins, drainage system, and invaders. Civilization. Civilization tells us about society, culture, and way of life of a particular area. Archaeologist. Now students, who is an archaeologist? Archaeologist is a person who studies human history, especially the culture of the historic people. He studies the history through their writings, structures, art, and crafts. Astronomy. Okay students, do you know what is the study of stars and planets is called? Yes, it is known as astronomy. So, the study of stars and planets is known as astronomy. Sculpture. So student, what do you see in this picture? Yes, it is a statue. So, this is a sculpture. Sculpture is an art of carving, cutting a wood, stone or metal into statues. Ruins. The part of an old building or an old city that is left after it has been destroyed. Drainage system. A system made of gutters to remove waste from an area. So, the next one is invaders. Invaders is a group of people that attacks a country, region or any place. Indus Valley Civilization. In about 2600 before Common Era, there was an advanced civilization around the plains of River Indus. It is called as Indus Valley Civilization. It was long time ago, and do you know students what they used to do? They used to make pots. They used pots and other vessels and made things out of metals, such as copper. And they also made cotton cloth. They used wheels as well. Harappa. Harappa is in Punjab, which is the most famous archaeological site, as it contains the ruins of great Indus Valley civilization. So here you can see the image of Harappa. These are the remains of Harappa. Mohenjo-daro. So students, do you know where Mohenjo-daro is located? It is located in Sindh. As I told you before, Mohenjo-daro means Mound of the Dead, as it is one of the most famous archaeological site. It also contains the ruins of great Indus Valley civilization. Today, in Mohenjo-daro, we can still see the remains of houses, temples, baths, granary, and streets with the proper drainage system. So, class, what is granary? Granary is the storehouse of grains. Archaeologists have also found the pieces of pottery, ornaments, jewelry, and clay figures. The fragments of cotton cloth made here have also been found in the ancient historical sites of present-day Iraq, as the people of Indus Valley Civilization used to trade with neighboring region. The Aryans. The Aryans was the large tribe who came into the subcontinent from the northwest around 1500 before Common Era. They use horses and chariots to travel fast. Sanskrit is a language that was introduced by the Aryans. They first settled in the Indus Valley and then spread to the parts of the subcontinent. They were known as the strong, active, and lively race. Over the next few centuries, many kingdoms were formed. As great battles were fought, cities were built, destroyed, and then rebuilt by the invaders. Meanwhile, some like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa were forgotten, and no one is quite sure that what happened to the people who lived in the cities of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. The great empires, Persians. The Persians came in the 5th century before Common Era. Do you know that they created a huge empire including the land which is now known as Pakistan? Their capital in this region was Taxila. Persians introduced new ideas and learned new ways from Aryans. So Persians were defeated by the Greeks as the Greeks crossed into the subcontinent through the Khyber Pass. The Greeks influenced the art and sculpture in Gandhara and Taxila. Mauryans. Mauryans were one of the most greatest empire. The most famous ruler of Mauryans was Ashoka, who extended the Mauryans' empire through wars. But when 1500 people were killed in the Battle of Kalinga, he got shocked and was devastated by the destruction. In result of that, he gave up the violence and became a Buddhist. So students, do you know who is a Buddhist? A Buddhist is a person who believes that nothing is fixed or permanent and change is always possible. Ashoka, on the other hand, also introduced many new rules for the people to give them a secure and comfortable life. Kushans, Guptas, Parthians and Huns. Kushans came from the Central Asia. Their famous ruler was Kanishka. Then came the Guptas, who had a large empire and strong rulers like Chandragupta. The Parthians and the Huns came into the subcontinent from the northwest. Huns. And who were the Huns? Huns were the savage Central Asian tribe. Now, we will discuss some of the impacts of ancient empires on the subcontinent. Rulers came and went with new ideas and new cultures which were slowly adopted by the local people. First, we will discuss the advancement in learning that took place because of the different empires that ruled over the subcontinent. In 4th and 5th centuries, many great advances were made in mathematics, astronomy, art, and other subjects. So students, do you remember the meaning of astronomy? Yes, good. It is the study of stars and planets. The second big achievement was a big university in Texela, the ruins of which can be seen even today. It was also one of the centers of Buddhism. Learning advanced under the Mauryas and Guptas. Harsha, the ruler of the Nanda dynasty, set up the Nalanda University in present-day India. It was famous for its mathematician Aryabhata, who used the concept of zero. Religions. 4 main religions were introduced through the ancient empires in the subcontinent. Most of the early people in this land were Hindus. Afterwards, new religions came into being. Buddhism spread fastly to many parts of the subcontinent and beyond. Jainism spread within India. Islam spread in the subcontinent with the arrival of Muhammad bin